What if I told you that the difference between getting approved for your dream home loan and being denied could come down to just one number? And what if that number was shaped by factors you probably never even thought about? That's what we're diving into today, credit score factors that matter most. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which parts of your financial life carry the most weight and what you can do starting today to take control. But here's the twist. One of the most powerful credit score boosters is something most people overlook. Stick with me, because I'll reveal it later, and it might surprise you. Number 1. Payment history is king. This is the single most important factor in your credit score. In fact, payment history makes up about 35% of your total score. That means if you've ever missed a payment, even just once, it could stay on your report for years. Think of your payment history like your personal trust rating. Lenders want to know, do you keep your promises? If you agreed to pay your credit card bill on the 15th of every month, do you follow through? Here's an example. Imagine two people. Sarah always pays her bills on time, even if she only pays the minimum. Mike, on the other hand, sometimes forgets and pays late. Sarah will almost always have the higher score, even if she carries more debt, because consistency and reliability matter more than anything else. Number 2. Credit utilization ratio. This one sounds complicated, but it's not. Credit utilization is simply how much of your available credit you're actually using. Experts say you should aim to keep it below 30%, but the lower, the better. Example time. If you have a credit card with a limit of $1,000 and your balance is $800, your utilization is 80%. That's way too high and could hurt your score. But if you only carry $200 on that same card, your utilization is 20%, which looks much healthier to lenders. Here's where most people slip up. Even if you pay your card off in full every month, if the balance is reported before your payment clears, it can still look like you're maxed out. So the trick? Make an extra payment right before your billing cycle ends. Number 3. Length of credit history. Think of this as your financial age. Lenders love to see a long track record. It's not about how old you are, but how long you've managed credit. For example, let's say you opened your first credit card at 18 and now you're 28, that's a 10-year history, and it helps your score. But if you cancel that old card, your average age of accounts could suddenly drop. That's why many experts recommend keeping your oldest accounts open, even if you rarely use them. One more example. If you just opened 3 new accounts last year, even if you pay them perfectly, your average credit age might still be considered young, and that can bring your score down temporarily. Number 4. Credit mix. This one surprises a lot of beginners. Your score actually benefits if you have different types of credit. Credit cards, auto loans, student loans, mortgages, they all count differently. Lenders want to see that you can handle more than one type of debt responsibly. For example, if you only have one credit card, your mix is pretty weak. But if you also have a small personal loan and you're paying it off on time, your mix improves. Now, does that mean you should go out and take loans you don't need? Absolutely not. But if you're considering financing something like a car, know that responsibly managing that account could actually help your credit in the long run. Number 5. New credit inquiries. Every time you apply for a new credit card or loan, a hard inquiry gets added to your report. Too many inquiries in a short time can make you look desperate for credit, and lenders don't like that. Here's a real-life example. Imagine you apply for 3 credit cards in 1 month. That sends a signal that you may be struggling financially. On the other hand, if you apply for a mortgage and a car loan in the same month, the credit bureaus often count those inquiries as one, because they know you're shopping for the best rate. So the lesson here is to be strategic. Don't apply for credit unless you really need it, and avoid spreading applications too close together. Number 6. The hidden power of on-time small accounts. Here's the factor most people miss, and it could give you a big edge. Small recurring bills like a cell phone plan or utility payments can sometimes count toward your credit history if reported. For example, Experian has a program called Experian Boost that lets you add on-time payments from things like Netflix, phone, or utility bills to your credit file. Imagine getting credit score points just for paying your water bill on time every month. That's like bonus credit history for things you're already paying. This is especially useful for beginners who don't have much traditional credit yet. It's a way to show you're reliable without opening tons of accounts. Number 7. Debt-to-income perception. Technically, your income doesn't directly affect your credit score, but lenders definitely care about it. If you're earning $2,000 per month and carrying $10,000 in debt, that looks riskier than if you're earning $10,000 per month with the same debt. This doesn't change your FICO score, but it absolutely affects whether you'll get approved for a loan. So while managing your credit is key, don't ignore the bigger financial picture. Your income and expenses matter too. Number 8. The myth of closing accounts. Many people think closing a credit card will instantly help their score. In reality, it often hurts. Closing an account reduces your available credit, which raises your utilization ratio, and it also shortens your credit history. For example, let's say you have 3 cards with a total of $9,000 in available credit. You carry a balance of $2,000. Your utilization is about 22%. If you close one card with a $3,000 limit, your available credit drops to $6,000. Now your utilization jumps to 33%, which could drag your score down. The smarter move is usually to keep cards open, even if you rarely use them. Just put a small recurring charge, like a streaming subscription, on the card and set it to auto-pay. That way the account stays active without much effort. Number 9. How collections and charge-offs hit you. If you miss payments long enough, your debt can go into collections or get charged off by the lender. These are like red flags on your credit report and can tank your score for years. But here's the surprising part. Paying off a collection doesn't always erase it right away. It may still show up as paid collection. That's better than unpaid, but it won't completely disappear for about 7 years. Example: if you had a $500 medical bill that went to collections, paying it back won't instantly give you back those lost points. Still, lenders view a paid collection more favorably than an unpaid one, so it's always worth resolving. Number 10. Public records and legal issues. Things like bankruptcies, foreclosures, or tax liens can have massive impacts on your credit score. A bankruptcy can stay on your report for up to 10 years, while other public records usually last 7 years. For instance, if someone declares bankruptcy at 25, they may not see a fully clean report until they're 35. That's a long time to carry a financial scar. But here's some hope. Your score can start recovering long before the record actually disappears, as long as you rebuild responsibly. Number 11. The importance of consistency. At the end of the day, credit scores reward steady, reliable behavior. It's not about tricks or hacks, but about proving over time that you can borrow money and pay it back responsibly. Think of it like training for a marathon. Missing one workout won't ruin you, but consistently skipping them will. The same goes for credit. One late payment might not destroy your score forever, but a pattern of them will. And here's a final reminder. The credit score system isn't designed to punish you. It's designed to predict risk. If you show that you're low risk, your score will reflect that. Number 12. Hard versus soft inquiries explained. A lot of beginners confuse hard and soft inquiries, but only one type affects your credit score. A hard inquiry happens when a lender checks your credit because you applied for something like a credit card or loan. Too many hard inquiries in a short time can lower your score. A soft inquiry, on the other hand, happens when you check your own credit report or when a company pre-approves you for a credit card offer. Soft inquiries don't hurt your score at all. For example, checking your own score every month is a soft inquiry, and it's actually a good habit to monitor your progress. Number 13. Authorized user status. If you don't have much credit history, becoming an authorized user on someone else's credit card can help. When a family member or trusted friend adds you to their account, their good payment history and long credit history can show up on your report too. Imagine your mom has had a credit card for 15 years, always pays on time, and keeps low balances. If she adds you as an authorized user, that strong history could boost your score quickly. Just be careful. If that person misses payments, it could hurt your score as well. Number 14. The role of installment versus revolving credit. Revolving credit means accounts like credit cards where the balance can change every month. Installment credit means fixed loans like student loans, auto loans, or mortgages. Credit scoring models like to see both types. Managing a credit card shows you can handle variable spending, while paying down a loan shows you can stick to a repayment plan over time. For example, if you only have revolving credit like a couple of credit cards, Adding a small installment loan that you can pay off steadily may help round out your profile. Number 15. The effect of credit card limits. Your limit size matters more than you think. Higher credit limits can actually help your score because they make it easier to keep your utilization low. Let's say you spend $1,000 a month on a card. If your limit is only $1,500, that's high utilization. But if your limit is $5,000, that same spending looks much healthier to lenders. Sometimes, simply asking your bank for a limit increase can give your score a boost, as long as you don't increase your spending along with it. Number 16. Seasonal and temporary score dips. It's normal for your credit score to move up and down a little. Don't panic if you see a 10 to 20 point drop. For example, when you open a new credit card, you may see a temporary dip because of the hard inquiry and shorter average age. But as you build history with that card, your score usually rebounds and often climbs higher than before. Understanding that small fluctuations are normal helps you stay calm and focused on the long-term picture. Number 17. Credit report errors. Sometimes your score isn't low because of your behavior, but because of a mistake. Studies have shown that about 1 in 5 credit reports contains an error. For example, a stranger's debt could show up on your report by accident, or an old account might still be marked as unpaid even after you cleared it. That's why it's important to check your credit reports regularly. You can get one free report per year from each of the 3 main bureaus at annualcreditreport.com. If you find errors, you have the right to dispute them and have them removed. Number 18. The impact of cosign loans. When you cosign a loan for someone else, that account becomes your responsibility too. If they pay on time, it helps you. But if they miss payments, it damages your score just like it was your own loan. For example, parents often cosign for their child's first car loan. If the child makes payments responsibly, everyone benefits. But if not, the parent's credit takes the hit. Co-signing should always be done with caution because your credit health is on the line. The secret factor I teased earlier, the one most people miss, is leveraging the bills you're already paying to strengthen your credit profile. If you're someone who has limited credit history, adding those payments through programs like Experian Boost or similar services can make a meaningful difference in your score in just a few months. So now you know the credit score factors that matter most, from payment history to hidden boosters. But here's my question for you. Which of these factors do you think has had the biggest impact on your credit journey so far? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to see what you think.